thank you for inviting me so soon after your inauguration. The invitation is an indication of the strength and importance of the special relationship that exists between our two countries, a relationship based on the bonds of history, of family, kinship, and common interests.
British Prime Minister Theresa May was the first foreign leader to meet with President Trump back in January. And that hand-in-hand walk at the White House, a vivid symbol of the special relationship. We talk more about that personal and political relationship and her visit to New York this week in our Downing Street interview.
You're coming to the United States this week. You're speaking to the United Nations. You're relatively unknown to most Americans. What's the most important thing you want them to know about what you're trying to achieve?
Well, there are two things. One is this issue of ensuring that we can stop terrorists from plotting online, plotting on the internet, and that we can stop the spread of the hateful extremist ideology which can inspire terrorism. I think that's really important for us. And another issue I'm going to be talking about is something that most people probably don't think about, don't think happens. It's what I call modern slavery, which is when people are being effectively taken into a servitude, into slavery for sexual exploitation or labour exploitation. It's happening under our noses.
You've been Prime Minister for a little over a year right now, came in after the Brexit vote, became Prime Minister even though you were against Brexit. So were you wrong about that?
What I said at the time, before the referendum vote was taken, was that on balance I thought it was right to remain in, but the sky wouldn't fall in if we left the European Union.
But now you have to make it happen.
Now I'm making it happen, that's right. And obviously we're in the negotiations, but now I think we must take the opportunities that come from Brexit. Some people look at Brexit and think that it was about the UK turning inward. It wasn't. It's about us actually looking out around the rest of the world, but ensuring we can control our own laws, our money, and our borders.
A lot of other people look at it and say it's never going to happen.
It will happen. We're in the negotiations, and we're looking at the deal that we can do, the way that we can come to an agreement with the EU for the future, for our future relationship in trading terms. But what this enables us to do is actually, by having our own control, is do our own trade deals. Hence, we're talking to the United States. And President Trump is very enthusiastic about a trade deal between the UK and the US, and I am too.
It has taken its toll on your government. You almost lost the prime ministership back in June, and the former Conservative minister, now newspaper editor George Osborne, has said you're a dead woman walking, that passing Brexit would be basically your last act. Your response?
I'm going to pass Brexit. I'm going to make sure that Brexit happens because the British people voted for it. And I think it's really important that politicians actually do respond and do listen to people. We gave the public the choice. They made their choice. And that's why I think it's important for us to deliver on it.
And after that, you'll still be Prime Minister?
Well, the next election isn't going to be until after we have the Brexit, until after we withdraw from the European Union.
You were the first foreign leader to meet with President Trump. How do you get on with him?
I do get on with him. And of course, as you know, President Trump actually has an affection for the United Kingdom. Like many Americans, he has family connections with the United Kingdom. And we work very well together. The UK and the US have always had a special relationship and worked well together.
You say that President Trump has affection for England. It doesn't appear that the British people have much affection for him. I saw a recent poll in June. Only 22% of the British people have confidence in him to do the right thing for the world. What do you say to your fellow Britishers?
Well, what I say is that they should see what President Trump has done. I mean, let me give you one example, because I know a number of people were concerned before he became president about his statements about America's commitment to NATO. NATO has been the bedrock of European security. I was very pleased when I came over to see him shortly after his inauguration that he gave an absolute 100% commitment to NATO. America continues to stand by us in supporting that security and ensuring that security of Europe.
You've also got the travel ban, his comments after Charlottesville, pulling out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement. Big differences.
Well, I think the point about the special relationship between the UK and the US is that when we do disagree, we're able to say so. And pretty bluntly, for example, on the Paris issue that you talk about, the Paris Climate Change Agreement, I've made very clear I was dismayed when America decided to pull out of that. And as I've said to President Trump, I hope that they'll be able to find a way for America to come back into the agreement.
Do you still think he'll be able to come here for a state visit, or is that just not going to happen?
No, Her Majesty the Queen issued the invitation. The President has accepted it. It's just a question of getting dates and sorting out the logistics.
So it has nothing to do with the opposition here in the United Kingdom?
No, this is about finding dates when the invitation was issued and the invitation has been accepted.
Another missile test from North Korea just yesterday. Are we going to have to just learn to live with the idea that North Korea is going to have nuclear weapons forever?
Look, what we have seen in recent weeks, and indeed before that, is continuing provocation from North Korea with illegal actions. These are illegal tests that they're carrying out. I think it's significant that we saw at the United Nations Security Council that unity of everybody coming together around the table, including Russia and China, and agreeing to the stricter sanctions that have recently been agreed by the UN Security Council.
But these are still baby steps, aren't they?
These are important. These are important steps for continuing to put pressure on North Korea to stop what is illegal activity.
I want to switch topics to Russia now. There are reports that British intelligence were the first to tip off U.S. intelligence to the idea that Russia was interfering in the United States election. Russia's also interfered in the French elections, interfered in the German elections. Do you think they interfered in the Brexit election as well?
There's no sign of that. But the point that you make about interfering in elections is a very important one, and a very clear message should go that no country should be interfering in another country's elections. These elections should be free and fair, the view of the people.
Can the West work with Putin?
Well, the West is working with Putin. I mean, the United States and Russia, obviously, are trying to find solutions in relation to Syria.
But do you think he's a reliable partner there?
Well, I think what is important is that engagement takes place in the interests of the region and the interests of the world.
Hillary Clinton has a new book out this week looking back at the election. It's called What Happened, quite candid in many places. And one of the things she talks about is being a woman in politics. She says it's not easy. In her own words, she said it's excruciating and can be humiliating. Do you identify with that?
Look, I've always approached my being in politics in a very simple way and not think about that I'm a woman in politics in the sense of how I'm being treated by others, but just get on with the job that I'm doing. And that's what I do.
We were getting a little tour of 10 Downing Street before you came in, and we're told that Margaret Thatcher left a little mark up in the corner of that door, a little Thatcher there. What mark do you intend to leave on 10 Downing Street?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to go round destroying the furniture or the walls with putting marks in or anything like that. Look, I'm here as Prime Minister. I'm getting on with the job, dealing with the challenges that we face here in the United Kingdom. Some of those are challenges that we face, like ensuring we get Brexit right, but actually there are other challenges which are shared across the world, dealing with terrorism, dealing with modern slavery, ensuring we have free trade around the world that brings prosperity and jobs to people. Those are the challenges we're facing.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
It sounds like the British Prime Minister may welcome that news from the White House on Paris climate change this morning, if indeed it does hold. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.